how can we go from this to this? Today I'm here with Doug and we're going to follow the journey from seed to tree here at Beinn Eighe National Nature Reserve. So Doug, why is it that woodland expansion is so important here at Beinn Eighe?
This is one of the largest remnants of ancient Caledonian pinewood in the northwest of Scotland. In the past, a lot more of Scotland would have been covered in woodland, and here at Beinn Eighe we've got fragments of ancient woodland. By linking in these fragments and creating a bigger area of woodland, it's going to be better for all the species associated with woodland, with diversity, but also its resilience to change, and especially climate change. And the idea of this is not to reforest huge areas of reserve, it's just to lay down a seed source to then allow those natural processes to take over. So we're wanting the woodland to expand by natural regeneration. To rely completely on natural regeneration, it's going to take a very, very long time. We collect all the seed from all our different tree species on the reserve, and it's all planted out on the reserve.
Okay then Doug, so we've come up here now into it's part of the ancient woodland. So what exactly are we looking for?
So this time of year we're just looking for this year's cones. Here it can all be done by hand, so we're using just hooks to pull down branches without damaging them, and then just plucking the cones off one by one. So we're wanting tight cones with the seeds sealed inside. So what happens naturally, if the cones stayed on the trees and then a nice sunny, dry, windy day, they'll completely open and the wind will blow the seed out, which has got a wing, and it can travel quite a distance away from, well, the existing woodland, and that allows it to expand naturally. We also, when we're picking the cones now, we won't take all the cones off the tree, because obviously we want cones left to allow natural regeneration. This is our barn where we extract all the seed, so keep the door closed because the seed might blow away in the wind. First thing we do is we put it into one of these bins, and what we want to do is basically soak the cones for probably about 2 days. From there we'll drain the water and we'll take them over to our cone drying kiln, and over the course of 1 or 2 days the cones will go from being completely closed and sealed to being probably more how you would recognise a cone on the ground, just completely open, and this will allow the seed to drop out naturally, and is what would happen in the summer on the trees. Once the cones are open, we take them over to this table here where the volunteers are working, and they'll just sugar them round, and that will help the seed fall out of the cone. Not all the seed falls out of the cone, so to help the rest along its way, we put the cones in a pillowcase, and then we'll tie knots in the pillowcase, very important, and drop them into this spin dryer. So you can hear them in the spin dryer now. It doesn't take long, but basically what a spin dryer does is just tumbles around and forces hopefully the rest of the seed out of the cones. That'll be long enough in the spin dryer. So now we'll take that out and empty the cones into this wooden box. In the wooden box we just sugar them out again. Once we've got the seed out, we just need to pick the needles and debris out from the seed, so it's just the seed left. You can see the seed's still got a wing on it. This process happening naturally, that would help the seed to get blown further away from its mother tree, but we don't want the wing on the seed now because it takes up quite a lot of room in the seed trays. So we put them all in a tea towel and just gently crush it to remove that, and then place them in this griddle and slowly drop down the griddle, and because the wing is lighter than the seed, the wings float out, leaving just the pure seed, which we will then put in one of these plastic bags, and that will be stored in a fridge till we need to use it.
Okay, so we're now coming down to the nursery here at Beinn Eighe. So once we've extracted the seed all comes here. What do we do here, Doug?
So we've got lots of different stages of basically growing the trees on from seed. So when the seed comes down, we'll lay it in seed trays. From those seed trays you'll get pine, sort of about that sort of size, coming up, and then there'll be pricked out, which means you take each individual pine seedling and put it in a root trainer. So these are root trainers here. The idea of these is to have one cell for each individual tree. The bigger ones we have here, so these ones are ready to plant out, so they're at the end of their cycle, and the volunteers today are getting ready to be planted out on the reserve.
Okay, so we've come out to an area here right underneath Beinn Eighe in the background, and this bit in here was planted a few years ago, but a lot of these birch that are growing in amongst it are probably natural regen.
No, there's definitely natural regen coming away. You can actually see older birches scattered in this area, and they'll have acted as a really good seed source. So the area here, since being planted, we haven't used fences in the management. Natural woodland will have herbivores in it, and that helps create a natural mosaic, so you'll get open spaces that are left. Although we do want to manage in the presence of deer, they have to be at the right densities to allow regeneration, which means we obviously have to manage the deer populations here. We don't have any natural predators here in Scotland, so we have to control that population. If we didn't, then you'd end up with a population that's far too high for the habitats, and it will also be bad for the deer. They won't be in a good state of health. It's really important that we manage our deer sustainably. It's a really exciting place to work even at the moment. Already in this young woodland we're starting to see things like black grouse coming back, so you can really see that change, and it's obviously a long time scale, and it's not even going to be in my lifetime, but small steps